So a series of strikes has threatened the ceasefire between the US and Iran. The United Arab Emirates says it's intercepted missiles and drones launched from Iran. And its defense ministry said explosions were reported throughout the nation from those operations. Earlier, President Donald Trump told media the ceasefire was still in effect after the US carried out a number of attacks on Iran on Thursday night. Explosions were heard over Tehran after air defense systems were activated and intercepted some projectiles. There are no reports of damage in the capital. Iran says Washington breached the ceasefire, but Trump said the strikes were just a, quote, love tap.
They trifled with us today. We blew them away. They trifled. I call that a trifle. I'll let you know when there's no ceasefire. You won't have to know. If there's no ceasefire, you're not going to have to know. You're just going to have to look at one big glow coming out of Iran. And they better sign their agreement fast.
Yes, could you give us an update on what is the latest in those talks?
No, it's going. The talks are going very well, but they have to understand if it doesn't get signed, they're going to have a lot of pain.
Well, US Central Command said its Navy came under Iranian missile, drone and fast boat attacks in the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM saying it responded by eliminating inbound threats and targeting Iranian military facilities responsible for attacking US forces. In Iran, state media say 2 drones were shot down near Qeshm Island and Bandar Abbas after explosions were heard in that area. Explosions were also reported in the city of Minab, where the IRGC naval operations centers are located. Iranian media say the situation in coastal cities is now back to normal. The attacks are the latest in a series of strikes from both sides. Iranian forces fired missiles at US ships near the Strait of Hormuz after US forces fired on an Iranian-flagged oil tanker. That was on Wednesday. Well, Iran's military has captured a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. It's called the Ocean Koi. The military says the ship was attempting to disrupt Iranian oil exports. Naval commandos have called the capture a special operation. Iran's foreign minister has posted on X in the last few minutes, Abbas Araghchi saying every time a diplomatic solution is on the table, the US opts for a reckless military adventure. Is it a crude pressure tactic or the result of a spoiler once again duping POTUS into another quagmire? Whatever the causes, the outcome's the same. Iranians never bow to pressure. So let's go to Resul Serdar, who's live for us from Tehran. So Resul, tell us more about this ship that Iran's military says it's captured in the Strait of Hormuz.
Well, Nick, so we have a statement directly from the army, Iranian army, and saying that there was a court decision, a judicial order about this ship, the Ocean Koi, and based on that judicial order, the Navy of the Islamic Republic of Iran has seized this ship in the Sea of Oman. And so they are saying that this ship was attempting to disrupt and harm the oil export and interest of the Iranian nation by taking the advantage of the regional conditions now. And it said in this operation, so the commandos and the Marines of the Navy guided the violating tanker to the southern shores of the country and handed it over to the judicial authorities. So now it has been taken to the Iranian shores. And of course, they're warning that any violation is not going to be accepted. But the interesting thing is that, Nick, so according to the records of the U.S. Treasury, the same ship is actually under the U.S. sanctions, and the United States claimed that the Ocean Koi has operated as a part of the Iranian shadow fleet since at least 2020. And according to the same statement, so the Barbados flagged Ocean Koi, owned by Marshall Island-based Ocean Kudus Shipping Limited, has transported millions of barrels of Iranian high sulfur oil and condensate since May 2025. So there is quite an interesting case here. So while Iranians saying that this ship was attempting to undermine Iran's national interest and Iran oil reserves, so Americans are saying that actually it is a part of the Iranian shadow fleet. So in the coming hours, perhaps we are going to have a better and clearer picture about exactly what was the reason that Iranian forces have seized the ship.
And Resul, with all that going on, how are we set with negotiations, with mediation right now? Any sign of progress at all?
Well, indeed, just the foreign minister of the country has tweeted and saying that, anytime when there is a progress in any diplomatic solution or engagement, so always there are attempts somehow undermining this process, whether it's directly by the USA or indirectly by some spoilers. So here, Iranians are confirming that still they are reviewing the U.S. proposal, and the Iranian response is soon going to be sent to the Pakistani mediators to be conveyed to Washington. So what we know is that Iranian officials are saying there have been some significant progress in this diplomatic engagement, but still there are wide gaps between the position of two countries. So Iranians are saying that we have a three-phase approach. In the first phase, the war must end, and there must be guarantees that it's not going to be renewed, and the guarantees must come from the United Nations Security Councils, then lifting the blockade, then reopening the Strait of Hormuz. However, while Iranians are saying that, the dispute is directly about the new maritime regime that Iran announced about the Strait of Hormuz, and based on that, Iran saying that it is going to keep its sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz, and that is now, at this stage at least, one of the main contentious point between the two parties.
All right, that's the picture as we speak in Tehran. Resul Serdar there. Thank you.